Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. China on Friday hit back at America by imposing additional 34% tariff on all imported American products in retaliation to US President Donald Trump's decision to impose 34% tariffs against Chinese exports. And this is the latest escalation of the trade war between the top two economies of the world. Now, the tariffs will be imposed on American goods starting April 10th. And this is what the news we got from the state run Xinhua News Agency. Now, China has filed a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization following the US slapping of reciprocal tariffs on trading partners. Now, this is the latest development, which is almost like a full blown trade war between America and China. And this retaliation is also coming from several other nations like European Union, Mexico, and Canada also have reacted. But the point is, and the big question rather, is that how well is India placed in this trade war? How is it going to impact India geopolitically, strategically? How does the world order changes from here on? Can we expect some kind of a backtracking from America or China? These are important questions. And we are joined by a special panel today. Joining us this evening is Mohan Guruswamy, who's an expert on China, political commentator, author, columnist. Thank you, sir, so much for joining. We have S. Srinivasan, who's the editor-in-chief of the Federal Group. So thank you so much for joining. And
Hi.
I'll begin with Mr. Guruswamy. Mr. Guruswamy, how do you see this trade war between and the way China has retaliated at America?
Well, the Chinese retaliation was expected, and they made no bones about it. They said, if America does something, we will retaliate. And they retaliated in kind. America put 34% on them, and they put 34% on them. And the US will hurt more because the kind of exports the US has to China is agricultural stuff, soybeans, beef, pork, stuff like that. That's a major component of their exports. The Chinese export, manufactured goods with less value addition. And the Chinese will hurt, but the American consumer will also have to end up paying more. Chinese have other sources of purchase. You can buy soybeans from other countries. You can buy pork and beef from Latin America, beef from Brazil. So, they'll find alternates. And the Chinese also have large capacity storehouses built of this material. For instance, for them, control of prices on pork is very important. It's as important to them to control pork prices as it is for us to control wheat prices. So they have huge warehouses, filled with meat products, whereas they can last out for a while and slowly get the public conditioned to pay higher prices, or the state can absorb the price. But it's not so in America. Suddenly, tomorrow, we will find that Walmart will find all its goods are more expensive. And Walmart alone imports almost $100 billion worth of Chinese goods. So all these people, every item in America, in an average American home, whether it's a toaster or a fan or an air conditioner or a bed cover or a rug or whatever, comes from China. The American dependency on China for these goods is quite incredible.
No, so do you think that the challenges are more for America or challenges are more for China in this trade war?
Well, I think the challenges are more for America. America will hurt more. It's a challenge for everybody, but America will hurt more. And the American public, as they say, have very little grasa. They have very little belt tightening capability. The minute they have tightened their belts, they start screaming. Because it's their birthright, God-given right to get everything at a good price. That's what the American public has been brought up to think.
Mm.
And the Chinese will absorb the pain if the citizens will absorb it, if the government tells them to absorb. Because
Right.
most Chinese in their lifetime have seen the benefits they got from the system. But the Americans take it as, as God given and as their inherent right.
No, but you said
So,
that challenges, Mr. Guruswamy, you said that challenges are more for America rather than China. So, can we expect America doing some kind of a rethinking on this front with China, or we don't see that happening at all?
well, they already backed off with Canada and Mexico.
Yeah.
After a month, they started pulling back. They'll pull back when the public starts screaming. But unfortunately for America, Trump doesn't have a re-election. But Congress will have to face elections next year. One third of the Congress will face elections next year. It might be a different ball game.
Right. Okay, I'll go to Srini sir because Srini sir also has a few things to say, and then he probably will ask you some questions also. Yes, Srini sir, over to you.
Yeah, so one situation is, of, as you correctly mentioned, Mr. Guruswamy, that obviously US might get affected more by the moves of Trump, which he seemed to have done. And nobody really knows whether it was his gut feeling where he goes by or he has really heard his economists. One really doesn't know, but he largely goes by his gut feeling. Even yesterday when he, kind of decamped to Mar-a-Lago, his kind of retreat, he has said that, whatever is I've done, I'm not going to retreat. But as you correctly said, it's possible that he steps back after announcing, which he has done in the past also. But really, the fact here is, I mean, the question really is is it a kind of tactics also by Trump? First, impose a tariff all around the world, really shake the world, and then start dealing one to one, strike one to one deals. Like Vietnam has already probably said that, look, you have imposed so much tariff on us, about 46% or so. We are willing to cut it down to zero if that's what is required. We're willing to do that. Is it a possibility that the a part of world comes around to Trumpian view and strike a
I
deal?
don't think I don't think it's going to happen that way. This is he's dealing with two big entities. He's dealing with China on one side. He's dealing with Europe on the other side. Look at Europe as an entity; it is as big as China, and you can't push them around. You get the backs up of both two big, powerful groups. They're very difficult to deal with. America, the big advantage American has is that the world trade is in US dollar. People want to
Yeah,
accumulate dollars. And the US has the ability to print as many dollars as it wants because the dollars are only printed in America. So part of this could be that you see a slow transition into bilateral trade. What is there to stop Russia? Russia and China already trading in rubles and yen. India and China can do it. Other countries can start doing it. Japan and China can do it because America has broken the basic compact from which it has been the biggest beneficiary. It doesn't have to worry about trade deficits. It doesn't have to worry about current account deficits. It can keep pumping in dollars. And we'll be quite happy to produce and collect in dollars and put that money in American banks so the American citizens can buy our goods again on bank credit. The US is the
yeah,
most indebted country in the world, not only the state, but even individuals.
right. So would you
So
see
they're
two
living on
poss
credit and they're shaking up the system based on credit of their money. And the repercussions of this will be felt for a long time. I think this
Yeah,
is Trump's demonetization movement.
right.
Hmm.
So do you see two possibilities emerging out of this? One, as you said, is there a bigger possibility now that the countries start forming new trading blocs among themselves, minus
Of course they
America,
will.
rest of the
Of course they
world
will.
start getting together, and especially like Japan, East Asian countries, even Europe, and they start dealing with each other in a different way. That's one. Second is also possibility of other currency emerging as good as dollar, not in the immediate term, but going forward, dollar loses its, the strength what it has currently. Is there a possibility?
There is this is, I think, a turning point, a moment of inflection. The world depended on American stability. At the time of Bretton Woods, the international economists wanted a global currency for us to trade in between called
Right.
Bangkok. The Americans said no because they were the only economy standing after World War II. They said it has got to be dollars. And the dollar regime continued till, and the dollar was fixed at $35 to an ounce of gold. Till 74, unilaterally, Nixon abrogated that. And then came the regime of printing as many dollars as you want. So as well, the dollar has been floating in the air since then. And it worked well for America. You don't have to worry about trade deficits. You don't have to worry about anything. All you had to do was, you have COVID, print $2 trillion. You have Lehman Brothers, print $1 trillion. And give it as credit to yourself. And the world will gobble it up. But now all that will change. What is the sanctity of the dollar? What is the sanctity of the American word? What we call American soft power was the trust the world system had in their economic policies. That trust is gone now. That compact is gone. It might take time to change. We might have to get into new habits, but the bilateral world will start again. The international regime is over. We had for 25, 30 years these guys huckstered globalization, saying that this is the best medicine for all of us. Americans actually pushed it through. This was the Washington Consensus. They
No, but
pushed
Mr.
it through
Guruswamy,
hard.
you made an important statement when you said that this is Trump's demonetization moment. In India, when this demonetization happened, it slided back the economy. So are we going to see the same thing in America, and the fears about recession? How does that play out?
When demonetization happened, I spoke on TV incidentally that day, within 2 minutes after the announcement. And I said it's an act of vandalism. Things are going well, and it's going to push us back. And this is exactly what will happen to the world economy now. This fellow has set off something which he doesn't understand. You know, it has a simplistic mind, has simplistic solutions. I put tariffs up, everybody will fall in line. It doesn't work that way. I remove 1,000 rupee notes and everybody will fall in line. It doesn't happen that way. Or Hitler's final solution, and send them all to concentration camps is all over. It doesn't happen that way. People with simplistic solutions to complex issues are playing with fire. And I think here we've gone into something which is going to be big. The world is not going to be the same again. This is the beginning. If you back swap also, there'll be loss of confidence in America. US soft power is based in global confidence in them. Even the Chinese, Russians, everybody wanted to keep their money in dollars.
Yeah.
Now, who can trust them?
Yeah. So the other factor is also about the kind of stability which world was provided with American leadership and rest of the nations, especially European and other countries, is arms race and a nuclear race. Now, if you consider America as a superpower in artificial intelligence, and the DeepSeek has shown is China is not far behind. They probably are inching or almost close to each other. In such a situation, these two powers, if they quibble like this, what is going to happen to other regulatory issues which need to be put in place? Because this is the next big thing apparently going to happen.
Everything will be up for grabs now. You broke a basic compact. And that will make everybody want to look at America carefully, want to negotiate everything carefully. Look, he's picked up a fight with Canada.
Yeah.
US is, Canada is the biggest supplier of foreign supplier to US. He's picked up a fight with Mexico. 1/3 of American cars come from Mexico. He thinks he can kick the
True.
world around. It's not going to happen that way. The world is a very big place, and the US at the end of the day is only 20% of the world GDP. It's no longer this US which was there after Bretton Woods. It had 42% of the world GDP. The world has changed. It's changed different place. And the
Yeah.
big advantage the Americans have still is that it's a young country, unlike Europe, which is old. The Chinese are aging also. So that is the only advantage they have at this moment. And he's kicking at that also. And that advantage comes because you allow immigration.
Right.
And he's meddled with immigration. So whites are not having children. It's the Latinos and the blacks and the Asians in America who have children.
Yeah.
So,
See, what,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what really, foxes, perhaps, I mean, foxes me, but everyone, what is the real grievance of Trump? I mean, they already have a 25% of the global GDP share of the economy, and it's growing. And America has been doing fantastically well in all aspects. What is the real grievance if he says, I want to bring back manufacturing to America? Is it really going to happen? Is it going to be a manufacturing renaissance the way he expects? Is it likely? I mean, looks very unlikely to me. What is your take on this?
If you pay your workman 24, 25, $28 an hour on the shop floor, you'll never get back in manufacturing. Most manufacturing is small scale stuff with low cost stuff, sweatshop stuff. A Japanese car is really made in sweatshops, the small lathe shops, and chap turning one part, somebody's making radiators, somebody's making hubcaps, and all aggregated together. And they all do that on the basis of low cost labor cost. The average American car has $3,400 of legacy costs. Even before they make a car, that's their cost to the factory.
Hmm.
Because they've fed their workers well. American factory worker in the automobile industry gets almost $50, $60 an hour. He's not going to go back to work for $10 an hour. Like our Maruti chap, who's among the highest paid workers in the world, in India, he gets paid only 40,000 rupees a month. No
Right.
American will work for 40,000 rupees. Even a guy tossing hamburgers will not work for that. The US problem is the labor costs are too high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't match the Chinese, the Vietnamese, even the Indians. On software, can you match us?
No.
Our software engineers are willing to work for 50,000 rupees a month. And we think they're highly paid.
So, which
But
means that
it won't happen in America.
no, so which means that Trump, I guess, won't be able to continue for long with this kind of an economic fascism, if I may call it.
He's feeding on a middle America, which is white middle America in the Midwest, which is suffering from all kinds of malcontents. They see a lot of Asians in the West Coast, New York dominated by Asians and blacks and others all doing well. And they suddenly are a minority in the country. For the first time last year, there were more colored children born in America than white children. The demography is changing, and they feel resentful. You find all these strange looking people with strange names in high places. So Trump is tapping on that middle America's resentment, saying that, we had everybody came and bought from us. That was after World War II, when you were the only power standing. That world has changed. You had the
Right.
baby boom after that. You did well on the baby boom. Till the 70s, 80s, things were going well for you. But now it's not, and you don't have real expensive war. America needs expensive wars to finance its industry.
True.
Yeah. So, if Neeru, if you permit me, I would like to ask
Yeah.
Mohan a question on how do you think India should deal with this, because there is a 26-27% tariff on India as well. And what should India be doing? Because so far we have played it pretty safe. We have not said nothing either way and kept quiet. In fact, we voluntarily reduced some of the tariffs during the budget. And so, how do you see it? There are two possibilities. A, is it really an opportunity that it's an eventuality? So let us bring down our own tariffs, some of which are really very high. Or second, obviously, we are in no position to go for any kind of confrontation. Do we keep to let it go the way it is? Because it's not going to be politically very helpful for the regime here.
It reminds me of a line from a Bob Dylan song. It says, "Something is happening. You don't know what it is to you, Mr. Jones." Now, Mr. Jones sitting in New Delhi doesn't know what's happening. They're basically quiet because they don't know what's happening. Now, what India gets hit on, for instance, shrimp. Shrimp is our biggest single export item to America. And then there is car parts, and these things are going to be expensive. Shrimp fishermen in Kerala are going to get hit. Kerala is the biggest source of export of shrimp. They're going to get hit. But do you think these people would care about what a trawler owner feels?
Right.
So, and then international trade is not so big to us as it is to China or to America. United States, China's import bill alone is 13.5 trillion, and the US is almost 18 trillion. The import business. What happens to, sorry, 13% of GDP? What happens to them matters to them. Whereas a little loss of exports to America, exports are not so big for India. We'll absorb the pain. And then at the end of the day, the pain will be felt in a place where you don't care.
True.
Do you think these guys sitting in Delhi care about what happens to the trawler chap in Kottayam? That also is there. They're more interested in making us speak in Hindi.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
think they
Neil,
don't
go
know
on.
what's happening. There's no reaction. They don't know what's happening.
Right. No, but Mr. Guruswamy, you said that they don't know what is happening, and but what about those trade talks? Then stories coming out which were source based from the MEA that look, we are in the process of engaging in talks. It will result in something for India. What happened to that? I mean, is it like a complete failure? Then what do we assume then?
How can America make a special case for India?
Right.
Are we honorary Americans? Are we half Americans? Are we American allies? Are we American factors that they have to give a special? This is all. This what's up? City tamasha that I have a special equation with Trump. Just because I said, "Abke bar Modi Trump sarkar." It
No,
doesn't
but
work
he's
that way.
still a dear friend to Prime Minister Modi, I guess. He still calls
No,
him a
it's a
dear friend.
different. But unfortunately, the U.S. president can't take part in every little itty bitty decision in the United States. There's a huge system working there. He's had his Timon movement. He signed tariffs on everybody. He says, "I love the word tariff." And for 50 years, the US has been trying to de-tariff the world.
Yeah.
What does globalization mean? A seamless entry and exit of goods. That's the goal we are going to. And you stopped that. And is he going to give a special equation for India? This is all wishful thinking.
No, but then how does India position itself in this trade war, or does it have options of insulating itself? What is going to be India's action
In
plan?
India, India is not the big player here.
Okay.
The big player is China, Europe, people in Berlin, people in Paris, and people in London. India has to just play along to the advantage. Like we played along on the Russia-Ukraine war. Biden put all kinds of blockages on Russia. We just continued buying oil. In the margin said, no, 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 we just got to buy oil. We'll play along on that. We'll work to our interests. And those moments will come when we have to hold our course, be steady, and do exactly what suits us best.
No, but with this kind of
Unfortunately, there,
narrative, no, Mr. Guruswamy,
unfortunately, unfortunately, it's going to hurt us.
no, but this political narrative that look, we are Vishwaguru and we will try and lead the world. Now, is this narrative going to lead Modi government anywhere when it comes to negotiating with countries like China, negotiating with
Well,
countries like America?
I don't think it's going to take you anywhere. Uh, Particularly the Chinese, the trade deficit is almost 100 billion now.
Right.
You know, and all this positioning as global leader. He even tried to make G20 into a big global platform, as if India got elected as head of G20. But the thing is that we are living in a cuckoo land. What
Right.
really matters is how much do you contribute to world economic growth. The Chinese contribute 23% to world economic growth. How much does
True.
India contribute? We're only 8 or 9%. And we have to start pushing our contribution to the world economy.
Yeah.
That we are not able to do. For the last 10 years, we've seen a slow decline in our GDP growth rate, and we've seen a
True.
decline in your foreign trade to GDP ratios. We've seen a decline in investment to GDP ratios. We've
Yeah.
seen a decline in your FDI to GDP ratios. You're becoming a smaller and smaller player.
Right.
You have the demographic advantage now that is going to end in 15 years. You can't take advantage now. You won't get the sales again. And you frittered it away on all kinds of tamashas.
Right.
Savings rate in Manmohan Singh's second or third year was 36, 37%. It's down to 28% now. How can
Yeah.
you get economic growth rate with low savings rates? Your savings, your investment to GDP ratio has to go up. You've got to keep looking at that every day.
Right.
You can't have all that coming down, investment coming down, savings coming down, and say, I'm Viksit Bharat, I'm growing.
True.
You
Okay.
know,
So, yeah.
These are largely for
painting
the
your
domestic audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
painting your trains anew and putting a new body on that, still running them at 100 miles an hour.
Right.
Doesn't change anything. They're not bullet trains.
Sure. Okay, so I'll let Srini sir summarize and then probably ask you a question and then we'll wind up the show. Yes, Srini sir, to you.
So I was, finally, it's as you said correctly, it's going to be a demonetization movement the way it happened. Earlier, observers also said a similar thing as far as this trade thing is concerned. But just one thing is like there is a comparative tariff advantage which India might have as compared to its other neighbors like Vietnam or Bangladesh or Myanmar even. We seem to be slightly better off. So, is that a possibility that we could use that and start, exporting to countries where it matters? Second is, like I asked again, I would like to ask finally. India had to undertake 1991 economic reforms because we are pushed to the edge. We have only left with, few weeks of forex, and therefore we have to do it. Similarly, is are we getting to a situation though our trade is, we are very less dependent on foreign trade for our economic growth, but is it some kind of, at least foreign trade is concerned, a moment where we need to reform ourselves, need to put a more liberalized trade policy in place? Is that the moment we could see as a positive fallout of this?
Number one priority for us at this moment is to kick up investment, whether it's Indian investment or foreign investment, doesn't matter. Most foreign investment is Indian investment anyway. Where does the investment come from? Who are our biggest investors? They're from Singapore, they're from Mauritius, they're from London, They're from Cyprus. These are all round-tripping money.
Mm.
So when they start having confidence in India, you'll get foreign investment. It's the Ford and General Motors are not so big. It's your own people who are bigger investors. You got to get that confidence back, and that is
True.
not happening. So you got to get your priorities right. Say investment, GDP must grow. Modi must get up every morning and start jumping. Say investment, GDP, investment, GDP. The ratio has to go up. You can't buck economic laws and say I'm growing. You can't put on the music loud and dance and say everything is fine.
Yeah. True.
Savings has to go up. There's no other shortcut. Savings have to go up, which means taxation has to go up. You can't give a tax break to the Ambanis and Adanis and then say that investment will go up, savings will go up. They have to pay for what they are getting from this country.
Absolutely.
The people who import Mercedes-Benz cars should pay higher tariffs now. This is the chance to tariff CBU cars. This is the chance to tariff luxury goods, and so that there's investment in India. The thing Trump is hoping to do by raising tariffs is to get production in India. In America, we should start doing that. Now, why haven't we done anything with electric EVs? EVs are coming in, but we are talking to Mr. Musk about getting Tesla, more eager to get Tesla. Tesla has become a template for Indian industry. That if you get Tesla, we've achieved a great thing. We should be thinking of ways of propping up our Mahindras and our Tatas to take on the Teslas.
Yeah.
This is time to think of, there's this old-fashioned word called economic nationalism. Think of that. The Chinese do that. The Chinese promoting BYD all over the world. Why can't we do that? Mahindras went into e-car racing, Formula E-car racing, 15 years ago. Learned to learn experience.
Right.
We haven't cashed in on it.
True.
Now you got to cash in on all this.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
you got to work with Indian industry to push them forward. Rather than you were very happy that they're investing Tata's about Jaguar. What does it do for us? Have Tata created jobs in India?
Yeah.
They've created jobs in Europe.
True.
So
you have to take tough calls.
Yeah. Finally, I think what Mohan Guruswamy is saying, what in general comes out of this discussion is that India has to get its act together, and what has happened to China is a very good example. China has the strength to get back. That's why it has, but we are still far off from that. And better we put our own economy in place, our growth, our GDP growth, our investments, our savings rate, most importantly. These are the takeaways from this discussion we have. Thank you, Mr. Guruswamy, Mohan
Thank
Guruswamy.
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sorry,
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Sorry, I was blunt, but that's part of the deal you get with me.
No, absolutely not, sir. It was a very interesting interview, and having, in fact, Srini sir also on the program. But the most interesting term I liked was economic nationalism. Can India really sensibly now work towards that? And of course, challenges are many before America, before the world, before India too. So I'll end the program here. Thank you so much, Srini sir, Mr. Guruswamy. It was wonderful having you on the program. Thank you.
Bye. Nice talking to you guys.
Bye, sir.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.